Hey folks, it's Alex here. When you're standing in the electronics aisle or scrolling late at night, the biggest question that pops up is, will this actually improve my viewing experience, or am I just adding another pricey gadget that sits idle most of the time? That's the exact hesitation I felt before digging into the Samsung Q-Series Soundbar HWQ930F. I watched a handful of demo videos, skimmed through the technical sheet, and read through a lot of the buyer chatter on Amazon to see how everyday people are using it. If you want to check the product details on Amazon, the link is in the description. First off, the Q-Series is marketed as a 9.1.4 channel system, which sounds impressive on paper. In practice, it means you get a central soundbar, 2 side speakers, 2 dedicated rear speakers, and a wireless subwoofer plus overhead height speakers that fire sound upward for that Dolby Atmos effect. The key question is whether you actually notice that extra height and rear immersion while watching a Netflix movie on a mid-size TV in a typical living room. I started by putting the system together in a 12 by 15 foot family room with fairly neutral wall colors and a 55-inch 4K TV mounted a few feet off the wall. The soundbar itself is sleek, matte black, and fits comfortably under the TV without looking like a clunky add-on. The rear speakers attach to the wall using magnetized mounts, and the subwoofer is a compact, wireless unit that you can place anywhere on the floor. The first thing I paid attention to was dialogue clarity. One of the biggest complaints with many soundbars is that voices get buried under music or effects. With the Q-Series, Samsung's proprietary dialogue enhancer does exactly what it says. It lifts the vocal frequency so that a whisper from a thriller or a rapid-fire exchange in a sitcom stays intelligible even when you crank up the volume. I tested this with a scene from The Crown, where the characters speak softly over a large orchestra, and the words remained crisp without any artificial-sounding boost. It's a practical benefit if you often watch shows where the narrative is the main draw. Bass performance is another area where many consumers get confused. The 12-inch wireless subwoofer in this package is fairly robust. It delivers a deep, rumbling low end that you can feel as well as hear. When I played a high-octane action movie with a lot of explosions, think Mad Max, Fury Road, the sub did a good job of delivering impact without turning the whole room into a shaking box. However, there is a caveat. In smaller apartments, the sub can become a bit overwhelming if you're not careful with the volume knob. The low-frequency output is powerful enough to disturb neighbors if your walls are thin, so consider a wall mount or placing the sub on a rug to dampen vibrations. Surround effect is where the rear speakers shine, but only under the right conditions. If you're sitting directly in front of the TV, the rear channels are subtle. The sound seems to come from all directions, but it's not the full-blown 360-degree experience you might expect from a dedicated home theater system with ceiling speakers. That said, when I moved a few seats to the side, the effect became more pronounced, especially during overhead rain scenes or when a helicopter flies overhead in a game like Call of Duty. The height speakers, the upward-firing drivers in the soundbar, create the illusion of sound coming from above, which is a convincing trick for movies that are mixed for Atmos. If you enjoy gaming and want to feel a bit more immersed, that extra sense of vertical placement can actually give you a competitive edge, because you can hear enemy movement from above before they appear on screen. Room size really matters with a system this big. In my 1,215-foot space, the Q-Series filled the room nicely, and the sound did not feel thin like some cheaper soundbars where the audio seems to disappear after the TV's edge. However, if your living room is under 10 feet wide, you might find the rear speakers excessive. The added speakers can make the sound feel a little sprawling, and you may need to turn off the rear channel in the settings menu to prevent the audio from feeling washed out. Conversely, in larger rooms, say a 20-foot wide home theater, the system truly shines, delivering a cohesive soundstage that reaches the back wall without needing a separate AV receiver. Connectivity is straightforward. HDMI, eARC, optical, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi are all present. The eARC pass-through means the TV can send uncompressed audio to the soundbar, which is crucial for preserving that Atmos metadata. I paired it with a Samsung QLED TV, and the handoff between TV and soundbar was seamless, no lag, and the remote control automatically adjusted the TV volume when I used the soundbar remote. Speaking of remotes, Samsung's single remote can be a double-edged sword. The remote controls power, volume, source selection, and even the subwoofer level, but the button layout is a bit cramped, and you may need to press a dedicated mode button to toggle between TV, music, and game presets. It's not a deal breaker, just something to get used